Hello orchid fans, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to repot my new plants. So I've got 4 plants in total that I got recently, and they're still in their original media, and yeah, I want to get them out. So as I work through them, I'll just talk more about them and why I'm doing it, and yeah, let's get to work. Alright my friends, so let me just move these plants to the side and let's get started. So first one, so this is my jewel orchid, which is called Aspidogeni Argentia. So I really like this kind of star-shaped growths, and they really sparkle really nice. I don't think my camera will be able to pick it up though, but it's absolutely stunning. So let me take it out of the pot. I have no idea how many roots are in this pot, so I'm trying to be super careful. I kind of just want it to just fall out of the pot rather than me pull it out, because the roots can be very fragile on these jewel orchids. So let's have a look. So the moss is falling off quite easily, which tells me that, you know, it's probably not been in here very long, which is fine. So I do have a few roots developing really nicely. I'll take it in closer once I clean up this. So this is a very long root, so it's not looking too bad. So the roots on the jewel orchid are usually very hairy, and I mean, they are terrestrial orchids, so it kind of makes sense, because they grab hold onto anything they can get access to. So it's very difficult to clean them up, because I mean, I'm just really afraid to kind of break them. But yeah, let me take it in closer. So as you can see, I've got basically 2 roots. So one is right here, and the other one is, it's literally covered in bark because it's just, but if I try and turn it around, you can see the root. But yeah, it's just grabbed that bark pretty well. I do think it's been fairly freshly potted, so because, you know, these roots are definitely alive, so I don't think they're old roots. So I think this one even has, so it's got the white tip, which I think it means it is still in growth. So I don't think this bark would be old either. So I'm thinking not to just fuss with it too much. I'll just let it be, and yeah, I think I'll maybe put it in a similar thing. So I'll maybe just have small bark, seedling bark, and some ceramis for extra humidity. And yeah, we can let it establish like that. And then once it grows more, then I can put it in Laca, like my other jewel orchid. But I think to get the roots going, it might maybe like small bark and ceramis. So that's this one unpotted. So I thought I will plant in a small pot, and I will plant it kind of like that. So I'll put the base of the plant to the side, so that the rest of the plant, do you see how it kind of leans down? And then as it does that, it will start producing roots on the stem, and the new shoots will come out as well from that stem. So I can already see a small root trying to grow, as you can see right there. So yeah, so it just needs media. It needs access to media, because it's a terrestrial orchid, so it doesn't grow roots in the air. So but I think the small pot will do. This whole growth can literally just lie down on here, and it will have enough space. And you know, once it kind of starts shooting out through the sides, it can fill up the pot. And once it fills up the pot, then we can get it repotted. So I've got the small bark here. I'll just basically that root right there is pretty long, so when I put it like that, that root basically touches the bottom, so I'm not gonna put too much of bark at the base, and it kind of actually falls out through the hole because it's so small. But yeah, I'll just try and kind of give enough room for that long root, and yeah, I'll just try to fill it up, and I'll do kind of layers and mixing up my ceramis with the bark. So the reason I do that is these jewel orchids, they don't like to dry out. They want to be constantly moist, and the bark will dry out pretty quickly, especially when it's new. It's not gonna hold on to moisture at all, and I just don't want the roots and the plant to be affected by it. So the ceramis will keep the moisture in the pot, and as this bark ages, it will also keep more moisture. So that's basically the plan. What I will want to do as well is make sure that I've got a top layer of bark only, because ceramis attracts algae, whereas bark doesn't. So yeah, I don't want to see any ceramis at the very top, because it just becomes, you know, dark green and disgusting, and you know, I'm sure it doesn't really help the plant. So but yeah, I'll just do layers like that. I mean, it's a small pot, so it's not gonna take me long at all, but you know, I want to make sure I've got enough ceramis in there so that the plant doesn't dry out. And previously, when I potted my Macuda spatula for the first time, I actually potted it in sphagnum moss alone, and then just, you know, covered the base with bark, again, just to kind of reduce algae and all that. But the thing is, when moss is kept constantly wet, it just goes out pretty quickly, goes off pretty quickly. So yeah, I'm just trying to get away from moss altogether. I mean, my environment is not really that hot, and it just keeps the sphagnum moss pretty wet all the time. It just never dries out unless it's on a mount. So yeah, I'm just not a big fan of moss, so I'm just trying to get away from it. So let me actually put the tag in now before I go any further, so that I don't then disturb the plant. I'll just plug it in here, because that will become the back of the plant. You know, all the new shoots will come out through the sides, and so it's yeah, that will be basically the back of the plant. So let me get more bark in there. Okay, so I'm just checking that there is no gaps, and there is actually a gap right there. So let me just get another tag and just tuck some media in there. So with the jewel orchids, I mean, you know, obviously I'm not an expert. I've just had one, which, well, I've still got it, and this is my second ever plant. So I'm not saying this is definitely the right thing to do, or, you know, I'm an expert, but the first one grew really well for me, so that's why I kind of got encouraged and got another one, and I just hope it will like the same thing. But yeah, these jewel orchids, they don't really like having any gaps in the media. They don't like, you know, drying out. So this is what I'm just trying to do. I'm just trying to remove all the gaps so that roots have constantly access to humidity. And yeah, that looks pretty good. So here it is, potted up. And as you can see, it's kind of, I left it hanging, you know, kind of just lying on top of the media. So if the roots want to try and keep developing, they can actually just go straight into that media, and then hopefully you can get some new growths as well from that stem. So I'll keep you guys updated how it goes, but that's one plant sorted. I keep them in these, so for this, I mean, for this pot it's all right, it's not too big and it's got enough gaps, you know, for airflow, so that's good. But the smaller ones that I will do just now, these small pots, they just, honestly, they look ridiculous in these, you know, they're too big. So I will try and get some different types of outer pots for them at some point, but right now I just want to kind of get them potted up and allow them to kind of settle in. Let's do the Engracum. So this is a, so it's a miniature Engracum. Basically they don't get big at all. And this is Angraecum dollii. So it's a species orchid. Very small, as you can see. But yeah, they bloom pretty quickly. And you know, they can bloom very small, but the flowers are quite big compared to the plant itself. So I'm really looking forward to the blooms. So you see, one leaf already fell off, and this leaf is falling off as well. You see it's kind of yellowing, and this is why I repot my plants pretty much straight away after I get them. Even though, you know, the media might not look too bad, and you know, some people say it's actually better to keep them in the media they come with so that they can establish in the, just, you know, in the new environment, but at least they've got the, you know, the media, or, you know, the mount, it's still, the root ball is still in the same kind of setup, so it's less chance of them failing. But I think for me, I actually doing it more for myself than for the plant. I think that when I just don't really know how to take care of the plant in this type of thing, you know, in this setup or whatever. If it's a pot, it's the same thing, because I don't know what's inside the pot. You know, could be bark alone, could be moss alone, and maybe it's just, you know, the bark is just in the, just outside the pot, you know, just around it, and I don't see the moss inside, and I think, oh, it's just bark, so, you know, it will dry pretty quickly, and then I keep watering it, and I overdo it. So I just prefer to have plants in my setup, in my pots, in my media, and I know what's in it and how I need to take care of it, and I think then the plants, they can survive better as well. So as I cut this strip, the plant basically just came off, so it's not attached to that, to this little mount at all. So let's try and get this moss out the way to see what we've got inside. The other reason I like to repot is that I can see then the roots, and I can see, is, you know, is the root ball healthy and established, or is it, you know, literally non-existent. So in this case we do have some roots. So I think this plant was just recently mounted as well, because you can see moss just fell off. It was literally just put one kind of bunch on this side and one on the other side. So we do have roots. They're not actively growing right now, so yeah, we'll need to cut some of them off. Maybe I might leave them. What I'll do is I'll spray this one with hydrogen peroxide, because it's got a bit of algae on the roots, so I'll try and kill that algae before I pot it up. So let me just put it there. And where is my hydrogen peroxide? 3%. And let me just get this sprayed just now so it can sit and fizz until I unpot the other plants. So that's the tag, and that's the little baby. Angraecum dollii. I already washed the hydrogen peroxide away, so we should be okay with that. I would quite like to actually get this plant into inorganic media. I think they usually do quite well in Laca, although this is my first ever Angraecum, so I don't know how it's gonna react to Laca in my environment. What I'll do as well, I'll get this bottom leaf off the plant. So this one here, I'll just peel it off very carefully so I don't pull the roots off with it. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I think I see something moving in there. A tiny white bit. I don't know if it's a springtail or if it's something else. So, I mean, the plant doesn't seem like it has been damaged by any bugs, so I hope it's maybe just a springtail. So, yeah, so that's our plant. So let's get it in. So again, I'll put it in a small pot. I mean, it's such a tiny plant. I don't want to keep it in a huge pot and potentially get it rotted when the media doesn't dry out. So what I want to do is I want to just grab some Laca and try and find smallest pieces, because, you know, for this tiny plant, I don't know if big Laca will do much good. So I just scooped, you know, Laca out of the bucket, and I'll just try and find the smallest pieces. Okay, so that's my small Laca all picked out. So I did a full pot, so I'll put it back in here, most of it, and just leave a little bit at the bottom for croaking, but not much, because these roots are actually very long. So as you can see, they are quite long, so they're gonna go deep in the pot. So I don't want to croak the pot too much that they have to all bend. And yeah, I'll try and kind of hold the plant in the middle and just fill it up. So I'm just checking that there will be no gaps in the pot. I'll just do a little bit of squeezing, because obviously the roots would resist, and no, there will be bigger gaps between the roots. So I just want to make sure they've got enough Laca. Again, I do the same with Laca as I do with bark. As I kind of start watering the plant, and if I see that, you know, the Laca kind of settles down a bit and it there is not really much Laca around the roots, around the base of the roots, I just add a few more beads to just kind of keep that humidity, and it's usually all good. So that's what we will do with this one as well if we need to. So that's another one potted up. Just trying to be careful with that tag, because it's kind of trying to push the Laca out. So we've got one of the roots is right here, is at the base of the plant, and that was the one that was kind of half aerial, so that's okay. I'll keep it just on top of the media so that it doesn't, hopefully it doesn't fail. But yeah, here we go. We've got this tiny plant in the pot as well. So I hope you enjoyed the repot, and I think it might be 2 parts. So if it is, then, you know, you'll have 2 videos to look forward to. But I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you guys are having a good day and your plants are doing well. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.